Hello, friends. Jay Todd here on the floor of the Global Gaming Expo, where I've caught up with Mr. Chris Silkey from the American Gaming Association. Mr. Silkey is the Senior Vice President of Government Relations. Did I get that correct?
You did. Such a pleasure to talk with you this morning, Jay.
Well, thank you so much for getting up early and coming down here to meet me before the show gets going. There's a lot of focus from the American Gaming Association on illegal markets, and I thought it'd be interesting to talk to you about that because the AGA is taking some pretty definite stands on the illegal market. So before we get into that, maybe you could just define for the viewers out there what the AGA considers an illegal market.
Absolutely. Well, I will say we are the American Gaming Association, so we're focused on the U.S. market. And in the U.S. market, where we have gaming that's legal and regulated in 44 different states, anything that falls outside of that legal regulated industry we consider an illegal or unregulated gaming, so that would be an unregulated market. And it's a big problem for our industry because we obviously make significant investments in all of these different jurisdictions to be competing alongside those who are not subject to the same standards, do not have the same testing of their equipment, do not have the same commitments to responsible gaming, do not have mechanisms built into the regulatory framework to ensure fair payouts to customers, and there are myriad other problems that are associated with that. So we are very much focused on that. Yesterday, our CEO announced that we'll be releasing new research next month that will put a number on this illegal, unregulated market in the United States, and that would include both online, offshore websites that target the U.S. market, as well as what we're seeing in a lot of communities, which are unregulated gaming machines that are popping up not only in the traditional illegal backroom slot parlors, but now more so in convenience stores and other locations, gas stations across the country. That number will be big, $300 billion. So that's about a third of the size of our revenue for the gaming industry on the commercial side last year. We think there are some obvious economic implications for our industry when we're losing potentially $15 billion in revenue from that. But it also impacts the states who, we're a big taxpayer in a lot of these jurisdictions. We fund important priorities and programs. And so our research will show that states are losing out on about $4 billion in taxes annually. So it's really important to fight this problem, to get customers back into the legal market, get them away from these illegal channels. We have to address it on both the supply side by enforcement actions against some of these bad actors, but also on the demand side. So we're working on all those fronts, working with law enforcement, working with other partners in the ecosystem to try to address this situation.
Okay, well, I think you just knocked out of the park about 3 or 4 of my follow-up questions on that, which is great. You're a plethora of information. Let me digress just a little bit and talk about these illegal operators, because we all know there are people that are operating out of countries and jurisdictions which are just absolutely not regulated, and people who work in the industry and work online. We all know these people, but there's also a little bit of an aspect to the illegal market which is a little bit of you could call it a gray area. It's not, but it's outside of the periphery of what you might think of traditionally. And that is operators that may be fully licensed and very reputable in markets that are not American markets. The United Kingdom comes to mind. And most of those reputable operators, before they come over here, of course, do go through the proper channels. But if one of them, for whatever reason, through an affiliate or through some other marketing channel, were to infiltrate a market where they're not licensed, that too could be considered illegal. Am I correct?
That's absolutely correct. As I mentioned at the top, you have to be licensed individually in every state to operate. And so even a U.S.-based operator that was licensed in, say, New Jersey cannot be targeting a different state out west where they don't have the proper licensure. So whether it's licensed internationally, I think the crux of it is, are they licensed in the jurisdiction where they're targeting the customers? And I understand that can be tricky for some, but it is an important responsibility for not only the companies that are doing it, but also any of the affiliate marketing that goes on to try to reach customers in any jurisdiction to make sure that they're not inadvertently or on purpose targeting those who are not legally allowed to play through their what are unlicensed in that jurisdiction.
Following up on that thread, because I do have a lot of affiliate webmasters who watch this. Say you're an American-based affiliate, or maybe you're not. You're outside of the country, and you take it upon yourself as an affiliate to take an operation and market specifically that operator into a market where they're not licensed. That is at best irresponsible, and at worst could have other ramifications.
It certainly could, and I would say, I mean, for those who are looking to get into the U.S. market at some point, I think that the regulatory structures within the U.S. look very carefully at whether or not they have ever acted in an unlicensed or illegal capacity in targeting the U.S. market. So that would certainly be a disqualifying factor for any operator, which they should take to heart. But yes, for affiliates as well, I mean, they need to have some responsibility here, not the sole responsibility, obviously, but need to understand who they're marketing to and whether those players in those jurisdictions are actually legally allowed to engage with what they're the products that they're pushing.
Right, and some markets may actually consider the licensing of affiliates. I believe New Jersey may do that, and that could impact your ability in the future to operate in a legal manner, yes?
Absolutely, yeah. Whereas I think there's, Canada and some other jurisdictions have taken kind of a more permissive approach of getting those who've previously been in the unregulated space into the regulated space. I think the U.S. has taken a different approach where there's sort of a zero tolerance. If you've had some transgressions in your past or you've done some things that are not in line with what the expectations would be of the jurisdiction you're looking to get licensed in, it's a disqualifying factor, and they're not usually willing to cut you a lot of slack.
Wow. Well, you've been warned. All right, Mr. Silky, that's some great information. Thank you for the update, and I look forward to speaking with you in the future and seeing what the AGA has in store for this American market that's emerging. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jay. Good to be back.